Broncos, Lions, Raiders, Rams.
That road schedule's crazy, though.
Packers, Chiefs, Chargers, Vikings, Bills, Bucks on the road.
It's every single one of those teams made the playoffs.
Wow.
Their only non-playoff road games are the Cowboys and Giants.
Well, some are saying the Chargers aren't going to be much.
No, I'm saying last year's playoffs. Yeah, none of that.
Nick, we'll start with you.
It's
Eagles
tough
win
schedule.
total set at 11.5. You were just in Philadelphia.
I was just
Tread
in Philadelphia.
carefully.
It was delightful.
Was it?
I can't quite say I'm beloved in Philadelphia.
No?
I'm certainly well known in Philadelphia. But beloved is probably not the right word. So I think you said something important there. You said they've won at least 11 games in each of the last 3 years. But 11 wins would not hit the over. So I'm going very slight under. I still think they might be the most dangerous team in the NFC, but I also think some of the offseason losses combined with, I think, the Super Bowl hangover is the wrong word because they won it, but the glow of the Super Bowl, it maybe removing a little bit of the early season urgency, added to what is just objectively a brutal road schedule. And I think the Giants will be a touch better. I don't know if Washington will be quite as good as they were in the playoffs last year, but in the regular season, Washington wasn't a dominant team. It's just hard to find the that's you're playing a team that we think is going to be, in the running for a top 5 pick. I don't know if they have that game on their schedule unless the Giants are, terrible again. And so I would go, I expect them to win their division. I expect them to be a contender, and I would go with a slight under.
Okay.
Win the division with 11 games.
11 wins. Yeah, I don't think the NFC East is going to have, I don't think Washington is going to be a juggernaut in the regular season.
I think what you said made sense, but I'm going to go over. I get 11 is a sweet spot, but I'll go over with probably 12 because that organization isn't complacent.
No.
We know Howie Roseman is going to try to do whatever they can to keep winning. I think Saquon, too, I think he's coming back again with a vengeance. Like, he's finally got a taste of winning, and not just winning, he got a taste of, Hall of Fame talk, being a superstar. Jalen, I don't see as a guy that gets complacent. So I do think we've talked about A.J. Brown, and could that be an issue? That possibly could. But I do think they'll, coming off that Super Bowl, that was a rout. That was maybe their best game of the season.
It was.
So they're going to come out.
Saying that too.
No, it wasn't.
No, but I think that.
I mean, they were dominant in all their playoff games except for the Rams.
They had a great run,
dominated
obviously.
the Commanders.
But maybe they expected it. Hardly anybody expected them to do that to the Chiefs. I just think that's going to power them to a strong season, so I will go over.
I'm with Nick. I'm on the under, and I do think the Giants will be better. I think the Cowboys will be better. And I've said this before, based off of Teddy Atlas' quote, success is like a martini, it relaxes you. And as much as the Eagles organization isn't necessarily complacent, there is this natural tendency to think, okay, we've arrived, and we can go roll the ball out there and do the things we did last year, and it'll be good enough, but that's not true when you go to the Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl. You've got to do all that stuff better. And it's hard for me to go against you signing off on Saquon again because you're dead right last year. But I would imagine it's going to be difficult for him to repeat the success that he had last year. You're changing over offensive coordinators.
There we go.
But to me, the biggest issue is they're 29th in the league in passing last year, and I don't think the way that they were able to sort of band-aid through the whole season of not having a blow-up is going to be able to last, because I think that the wide receivers are going to demand that these wins are won with a little bit more flair and a lot more emphasis on their skill set, which to me could be the biggest thing that unglues or leads to them being under 12 wins.
One other thing, we still don't know if they're going to ban the tush push. And if they do, that is significantly damaging to this team. Again, I take nothing away from the Eagles whatsoever in that regard. They earned it, and they perfected it in a way no team has been able to duplicate. But it has been an incredibly valuable weapon for them that now, I thought going into the owners' meetings there was no chance it was going to get banned. The fact that the reporting is they had around 16 votes, you need 24.
It got tabled, right?
Right, and so the fact that...
Tabled means they just want to pass it when nobody else is around.
Right, and so that's what, if they were fine with it being around for next year and there's 16 votes for it, which means it's going to stay, they would have just voted. The fact that they tabled it and said, actually, let's try to whip some more votes means the league, I think, doesn't want this thing around, which means it's probably going away.
That's interesting. Next, you, their over-under is at 9.5. What do you got?
Yeah, they're going to go over. I see this to me is a team that's ascending. They were the third youngest team last season. I'm glad that the things with Stafford worked out. I think Davante Adams is going to be a really positive addition to him. And that extra year of experience with such a young group, to me, there should be another jump that comes collectively. And when you look at the rest of the division, everybody else is struggling with different problems, especially the 49ers. Nobody has any idea of which 49ers team we're going to see. Exactly. And then you've got Seattle and Arizona, and they're
Arizona's Arizona and Seattle.
Yeah, nothing screams from what they've done this past season to think, yeah, they're the ascending power in that division.
Yeah, I'm an over on this one, assuming Stafford's healthy, stays healthy. Like you said, Davante Adams. McVay's a great coach. He's had 1 year, the year they only won 5 games. But outside of that, it's 9 or above. I know they got to get more than 9 here. But I think they'll get at least 10. I like San Francisco, assuming they pay up on Purdy. I like them next year.
That's going to be the difference if he gets paid.
But no, I think they're over.
All right, so we don't have any flowers or a doorbell.
I hope not.
Because this is a screaming over. This is one of my, I think, favorite bets on the board. Can we put up their schedule again? Because here's the other thing about it. They have at most 2 cold weather games, Ravens-Eagles. And I know I was batting around last week who that first game of the year Eagles ceremony night would be. I think Eagles hosting the Rams after that was a great playoff game last year is a likely candidate. And if you're the Rams, you really want your Eagles game as early in the season as possible because they are not a great cold weather team. But obviously all their home games won't be cold weather. Their road games, Falcons are in the Dome, Panthers, Jags, Titans, all warm weather places. So I guess in Seattle could be a cold weather game as well. Yeah. But so I think that helps them. I think a kind of last ride Matt Stafford helps them. I think Davante Adams will be better than what they were getting or were going to get from Cooper Kupp at this point in his career. I agree with Coach. I think that division is potentially one of the weaker divisions in the entire NFL, and I don't think the Niners are going to be a juggernaut. So I love the over for the Rams.
At home, Ravens, Bengals, Eagles, Commanders, Falcons. And then on the road against Browns, Cowboys, Giants, Steelers, Chargers, and Seahawks. Ooh, circle that one. The Sam Darnold revenge. Brew over-under at 8.5.
The road schedule is not that tough. The home schedule, obviously, those are tough teams. Then you got the division. This is a tough one for me, but I'm going to go under. Just because, and I love Kevin O'Connell and I love Brian Flores, but everybody in that division can't win. I think the Bears are going to take a significant jump. I'm not ready to write off Detroit just yet. And then obviously you got the Packers, who were a young team last year, and so they should be better. So I'm going to go under with a little hesitation, but everybody in that division can't be around 9 wins. So.
Yeah, I'm under 2.
Wow.
When you've got essentially a rookie quarterback coming off an injury that he's never dealt with before, and then he not only had the injury with him, they had to go back in, they had to clean it up again, so he really missed 5 months of functional time. I think that's a problem. I didn't love the pick when they initially made it. That division, everybody is tough in the division, and it doesn't seem like they're moving away from that. They all seem like they're ascending in their own way. So with McCarthy, it's a huge question mark. Now, I wonder what the over-under would be, with Aaron Rodgers or Kirk Cousins, because I think at some point we're probably going to see a veteran quarterback playing for him again.
So last year, the preseason over-under, I think it was 6.5. So they obviously smashed it. They more than doubled it. And so there weren't super high expectations on them last year, and then they overachieved, and I think they overachieved because they have an awesome head coach. I know he hasn't won a playoff game yet. An awesome defensive coordinator who probably should be a head coach again soon. And they have the best weapon in football in Justin Jefferson. And also, I'm not going to be able to deal with Wilds if this team goes under and he's...
Why? I'm just right on this
And he
one.
what?
Well, here's the thing.
It's no big deal. I'm just right on it. You guys can say
What are you just right on?
that you don't let 14 wins walk out the door. You don't, the grass, it's classic, the grass is greener.
What if the grass was going to cost you $100 million?
Okay, let's go. Then you go and get a quarterback on a rookie deal, and your win total's at 8.5.
But so, honest question, and I know you're not the Vegas guy. What do you think their win total was going? Now that we've seen the whole league, and we've seen that Detroit's at 11.5, that the Rams are at 9.5. What do you think Vegas would have set their win total if they had kept Darnold? Because my guess would be 1 win higher. I think it would have been 9.5. I think with Darnold.
What's Chicago at?
What Chicago's at 8.5?
Chicago's at 8.5.
Okay.
What do you think their win total would have been?
I don't know.
And so I don't think. So my question to you is this:
But if they win 8 games, if they go from 14 to 8, I just am fundamentally against going in the wrong direction. That's not a hot take.
I think it is a bit more of a hot take than you're making it out to be. But I just have the follow-up question is this: is there anything that Darnold could do with the Seahawks that would make you feel like, oh, they were right to move on, or is that going to be irrelevant because we saw him do it with the Vikings?
No, I think when you have like a nice fit, if I have a nice shirt and then I give it to you and it doesn't look nice, it's not the shirt's fault.
So you can't be wrong on this.
I cannot be wrong.
If
they win the Super Bowl, if J.J. McCarthy's great, I just think there's an element of I don't like when the coaches and the program gets all the credit and the players are interchangeable. That's fundamentally what I'm against.
But I do think when you organizationally make a commitment to a first-round draft pick quarterback, you're making the assumption that that guy is eventually going to be the future of your franchise. So collectively, the head coach, the owner, the GM decided that J.J. McCarthy was the future, and at some point, $100 million can be really detrimental to the program because you can't improve necessarily the rest of the team. So $100 million for a backup quarterback. Yeah. Now, if you were saying to me, okay, we're going to keep Sam Darnold, he's going to be our starter.
That's what he was saying.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying if I'm on a prove-it year, I win 14 games, I throw for 4,000 yards.
And then went total pumpkin.
And everybody went pumpkin.
No, you always say that.
Patrick Mahomes went pumpkin mode.
See, you always say that.
But everybody went pumpkin mode except for Jalen Hurts.
No. That is fundamentally, though, you understand, not true. So, like, Mahomes had a bad Super Bowl, but, like, I'll pick a different player. Matt Stafford didn't go pumpkin mode.
He didn't. He dropped the ball, and the Eagles got the ball.
He turned the ball over one time, and they lost the game. But that is so fundamentally different.
But everybody's final football game, unless your name is Jalen Hurts, had a bad game. Didn't do enough to win.
No, that's not. Jaden Daniels did.
Jaden Daniels lost by more than 20 points.
Right. So Jaden Daniels' end of season is the same as Sam Darnold's.
I'm not saying it's the same. I am saying that you can't blame the quarterback. You win 14 games. Did Sam Darnold win the 14 games?
Yes.
No, he did not. The system won it. The system won. Kevin O'Connell won it. And then when he lost his final 2 games, Sam Darnold lost. Sam Darnold's record was 0-2.
Was bad, though.
And then Kevin O'Connell's record was 14-1.
You could see, though, Kevin, how people could make the argument where Sam Darnold hasn't had success anywhere else. He inserts into this program. He suddenly has success. Where people might be leaning towards maybe it's the system.
Yes, and when in
that's
the 2 biggest games
Darnold had done that right away, like second, third year of his career, I don't think people would be giving O'Connell
all the credit. Although he was 4-2 in Carolina, like I said.
Exactly.
But he
also, I don't even like Sam Darnold.
You love him.
I don't.
I'm
not a huge Sam Darnold fan.
And he was getting credit. We put him on MVP watch.
I put him on MVP watch.
I did.
No, you didn't.
Bruce Ballard.
Bruce Ballard, you did it regrettably. You're like, I guess I got to put Sam Darnold on the ballot. The guy's got 14 wins. I put up the graphic. You guys start yelling.
And then he was terrible against Detroit. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.